Alright, so this is a review on Janet Jackson's album, Janet, and this is a request as well to review this album, so big you up. So this album was released in 1993, and the artwork from this artwork I'm seeing here is of just Janet Jackson's face, well, the top half, like a headshot, but she got her hands over her head, and yeah, it's just her name, Janet, and which is very interesting around that time because I believe, if I'm correct, there was like a bidding war for her because her contract with A&M, I think it's called, it expired, innit? So get me. She's on a free transfer. Them ones. Yeah, I'm using football terminology, but it is what it is. And so yeah, 2-2s now. This is what I'm telling you is putting it into context of the album, yeah. So bear with me. And I believe Virgin Records at the time, they actually signed Janet Jackson, and in regards to this album in general, she wanted to differentiate herself from her family. She wanted to do her thing because obviously her brother's doing their thing, the Jackson 5. Then boom, get me. Michael Jackson does his solo thing. He's a juggernaut of an artist, like a juggernaut. And it's not to say that she doesn't love her family. It's the fact of she wants to stand out on her own and do her thing and let people respect her for what she's doing and not just, make reference to her as, oh, that's Michael Jackson's sister. You understand? It reminds me of a Carla and Miss Dynamite, right? Because there was a time where Miss Dynamite, she was doing her thing and Carla was doing his thing as well, but like he didn't want to like jump on her. If I remember correctly, there was an interview saying he didn't want to like use her name, if that makes any sense. He wanted to stand out and not just be known as Miss Dynamite's little brother. It's the same thing with Ray J and Brandy, although some people still call Ray J Brandy's little brother, but he's now standing out on his own. You understand? Like he's got his own business. You understand, with Raycon, and yeah, I know for the record, I hope to work with Raycon. Get me? If he's still there. But anyway, that's another story. Back to the Janet album. So that is interesting in itself. And as far as just the album, or not just the album, but the deal, at that point in time when she signed, it was the highest an artist has ever signed, apparently. I could be wrong. You can correct me in the comment section below, but I believe it was in the region of $30 to $40 million, right? So, because people like the labels knew that Janet Jackson was going to be the next best thing. Like they knew it. You understand? They knew it. So, Virgin Records did their thing, innit? Like they won the bidding war. And interesting enough, I know I'm supposed to go through to the album, but this just leads into it. You have to understand. Like there's the intro. And so a couple days later, what happens? Michael Jackson. I don't know whether he caught wind of his sister being the highest, and a couple of days later, he renegotiates his contract with Sony, where he becomes the most paid or has the biggest deal. I don't know what happened, but when it comes to sibling rivalry, as much as these two were close, don't get it twisted, sibling rivalry does happen, innit? Like, that competition just comes out and you like, oh yeah, you want to have the biggest deal? Let me have the biggest deal. You know what I mean? And plus, he's the oldest, isn't it? So out of the two, so that's interesting. But I don't know if that was the reason. So do not take my words out of context. I'm just saying from a different perspective. And Michael Jackson's the GOAT, so you understand? Like I respect for that guy, and I got respect for Janet Jackson as well. Like these guys, these are icons. They are icons. But yeah, and this I believe, although Janet Jackson made the album Rhythm Nation, I believe this album in general, and I'll get into it now. So basically, there are. So obviously, oh, I nearly forgot to mention. So the reason why I mentioned that deal, those deals, Michael Jackson's deal and Janet Jackson's deal, is because now it puts things into perspective of why she wants to separate, in a way, herself from just being known as Michael Jackson's sister, or you understand that? So the fact that she has the highest deal as a woman by the point when her brother, you know, takes over, but takes over that record for the highest artist deal, if that makes sense. But yeah, let me not go to a tangent. So she has to, some way, in some level of respect, find a way to create her path. And thankfully, she did the smart thing, obviously bringing in the usual Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, but she is the producer and the songwriter for every single song. Smart woman. Very, 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 very smart woman. So, I think that was a very smart, bold move she did, which actually, you know, took her career, her music career to say, to the next level. Yeah, and I think she was like 24 at the time. So, you know, at that age, it's about, you're always growing and learning. Well, in life, you're always growing and learning, regardless of your age. But I think this album did it for her. As much as Rhythm Nation is one of the coldest albums ever. But yeah, back to the album. So there is 23 tracks. Yeah? No, my bad. 28. 28 tracks. And she is the producer, she's partly the producer and the songwriter on 28 tracks. Like, are you deep in that? Yeah? Are you deep in that? So, anyway, there's the song Morning, That's the Way Love Goes, You Know, You Want This, Be a Good Boy, If, Back, This Time, Go on Miss Janet, Throb, What I'll Do, The Lounge, Funky Big Band, Racism, New Agenda, Love Part 2, Because of Love, Wind, Again, Another Lover, Where Are You Now, Hold On Baby, The Body That Loves You, Rain, Anytime, Any Place, Are You Still Up, Sweet Dreams, and Whoops Now. 28 tracks. I don't think artists can produce the levels like that these days. 28 tracks. Mad. Obviously the standout tracks are That's the Way Love Goes, Throb. These, for me anyway. Again, Another Lover, Hold On Baby, Anytime, Any Place, Sweet Dreams. In fact, the more, again, Racism is another song that stood out to me. In fact, a lot of these tracks actually stood out to me, and to be quite honest with you. But if I was to pick one song that stood out to me the most, is most probably That's the Way Love Goes. And I think the reason why is obviously because of the music video and all that stuff there. And do I regularly use that GIF where she's dancing and all that stuff there, and J-Lo's in the video as well. For those that don't know, Jennifer Lopez is in that video, yeah? So, get me? So that's another thing. Like, she cameoed in her video before J-Lo was Jennifer Lopez, before she was a household name. And now you got songs from Nave Smalls and Dino and Chip making a song called J-Lo. You understand? That is actually amazing. And that's one of my favorite songs actually at the moment. So yeah, that's on the album. Goat World. Basically go stream that by Nave Smalls. So yeah, man. But as usual, I'm gonna take one song. If it's out of context or in context, it is what it is. In fact, before I get into that, the one thing I say about this album as well, like I said, this solidified Janet Jackson into being an international star. But also, I believe there's some parts of this album, because I think, if I'm correct, it was around the same era where she did Poetic Justice, and she was that sweet girl, innit? And so feminine, so pure, like, oh man, you gotta understand the levels. So I do feel like, if I was to compare this to Rhythm Nation, I would say Rhythm Nation was more like in your face. You understand? Like, it was more like that. How do I explain it? Alright, put it this way. This album in general is more sensual, it's more feminine, if that makes sense. Alright, yeah, you do have a song called Racism and all that stuff there, but like, you just get more of a feminine vibe from Janet Jackson from this album. And that's what I actually like from Janet Jackson, because her vocals itself, the way she talks and the way she actually sings, I think she found herself to the point where that's her. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so sensual. Nowadays people will call it ASMR, but it's, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Like, it's a turn on. Let's be real. Like, it's a turn on. And look at that. Janet Jackson ended up becoming not just yes, became a sex symbol. You understand? But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna take one song. If it's out of context or in context, it is what it is. The song I'm gonna say, what song I'm gonna use is "That's the Way Love Goes," or should I? Yeah. All right. How Love Goes is. You ready for this? Love doesn't exist. Well, technically it does exist, but love is an emotion, and it's temporary. So, although it's temporary, it can be prolonged for a certain period of time, but after a while, it's unconditional, isn't it? So, the feeling's still gonna be there, but it's what you do with it. But you gotta understand, it's not about love. When it comes to dating and relationships in general, it's not about love, right? It's about survival. It's about survival, yeah? So you gotta develop yourself, yeah, and understand how relationships really work. When you understand that or understand that, you understand the way love goes will be very simple, very effective. You get what you want, you get what you need, and you're good, whether you're a man or a woman, yeah? So this is why I say, click the link in the description box below, which is to become a member of the Thealkebulantrust. When you do that, you get access to online courses such as Roles and Relationships, and that's where you're going to learn how to develop yourself as a pure feminine woman. If you're a woman watching this, and if you're a man watching this, you learn how to develop yourself as a thoroughbred alpha male, plus learn how dating and relationships actually work. Bonus, click the link in the description box below, where it actually says link to the album, and that's going to be the link to Janet Jackson's album. Go stream that, and if you're a woman watching this, I guarantee you, you are going to be in your bag of being a feminine woman. Like, you're going to get the aura put into you, but you still need that knowledge of being a feminine woman. Anyway, so I'm going to give this album a 10 out of 10. Janet Jackson really went in this album. The rhythms, that's the other thing I meant to mention about the rhythms. It's interesting when it comes to music, right? There's some artists that they try to sound pop or try to sound appealing to the mainstream radio and all that stuff there to get that play and all that stuff there. Cool, I get it. But there's some artists that know how to just make music, and it just so happens that it actually is appealing. Because you can make music for a commercial radio and it sounds fucking crap. Yeah? It sounds like, go watch my review on The Weeknd's album and you know what I'm talking about, right? This is no disrespect to The Weeknd, but it is what it is. That's my perspective, that's my opinion, deal with it. So, it's like, with Janet Jackson, with this album here, I don't know whether it was intention to be mainstream, all that stuff there. Obviously, if you sign a deal like that, you want to make sure that you are appealing to a certain audience or stuff there, and I get that. But for some reason, it just sounds like she was just making music. You understand? Like, she was just making music to make music, and it just banged. But anyway, if you've got any questions, any topics you'd like for us to discuss in our videos, leave that in the comment section below. And remember, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, because you never know, the video you suggest might just be next.